The number of foreign visitors to Korea rose 23% in July year on year, pushing the total for the first 7 months past 10 million and back to pre-pandemic levels, according to the Korea Tourism Organization.
지난 7월 우리나라를 찾은 외국인 관광객이 작년 같은 달보다 23% 늘었으며 올해 들어 7개월간 방한한 외국인 관광객 수가 1,000만 명을 넘어서면서 코로나19 사태 이전 수준을 회복한 것으로 전해졌습니다.
Yeah, so I had a chance to go downtown near Myeongdong and the palaces. There are a lot of, it seems like tourists visiting Korea, not just Seoul either, but the numbers back that up.
Did you ever go during COVID?
Of course.
And
Myeongdong was dead at the time,
Yeah.
obviously, for obvious reasons. So it looks like these popular tourist areas are revitalized now, and the numbers back that up. According to the KTO, 1.73 million people visited Korea last month alone. Actually, I should say 2 months ago, July 2025. And if you compare that to July 2019, which was just before the pandemic, that's up 19%, 19.7% to be exact. And 34.7% of that come from China, Chinese visitors, followed by Japan and Taiwan, which is understandable. They're nearby countries. Also, if you look at the entire year, this year from January to July, numbers are up 15.9%, up over 10 million. On the flip side, the number of Koreans traveling abroad actually declined year on year in July, down 2.7%, 2.43 million Koreans traveled overseas in July.
You know, we named the pandemic and the virus COVID-19 for a reason, so that we wouldn't forget it happened at the end of 2019.
That's right.
But oftentimes it doesn't seem like that long ago, and yet it's 5-6 years ago already now?
Yeah, depending on how you look at it. It seems like not too long ago, but it also seems like an eternity ago as well.
Yeah, that is right as well. Exactly. 2019년 바로 이제 코로나 직전의 수치를 보게 되면은 이제 7월을 비교하고 있는 건데요. 올해 7월과 2019년 7월의 관광객 수가 이제 거의 비슷해졌군요.
Yeah,
그 사이에는 뚝 떨어졌었죠, 아무래도.
Yeah, so what we can get from this headline is that not only have tourism figures rebounded, they've actually surpassed pre-pandemic levels.
Exactly. Now, when we compare these figures, 특히 이렇게 몇 명이 뭐 한국에 왔다 관광객 얘기를 할 때 비교를 우리가 뭐 언제와 비교하잖아요. 뭐 작년과 비교할 수도 있고 지금 같은 경우 이제 매해 7월과 비교를 하고 있는데. In English, we use expressions like year on year.
Yeah, we hear this a lot in business, economics, and finance when you're comparing statistics or other sort of data from the same period in the previous year. So it's often abbreviated Y-O-Y. As well, short form for year on year.
Yeah.
It's also said year over year, you can say as well, or just shortened to on year. Or if you want to spell it out, you can say compared to the same time last year.
이게 다 의미는 똑같네요. 작년 같은 시기에 비해서라는 뜻이에요. 이거를 좀 줄이자면은 전년 대비.
Yes.
이렇게 얘기를 하죠. 그래서 year on year on year. 자, 작년 7월에 비해서 올해 7월에 관광객 수가 역시 많이 늘었다라는 얘기고. Now it's back to pre-pandemic levels.
Yeah, so when you're back to a certain level, you're sort of describing something that's returned to a previous state, right? So back to pre-pandemic, so pre meaning before. So before the pandemic, it's used to describe usually the economy, sales, trade, things like that. They've returned to the same condition before the pandemic.
Exactly. 자, 어떤 수준으로 돌아왔다. 수준을 level이라고 표현을 할 수가 있기 때문에 back to something levels는 여기서 이제 하나의 수치만 말하는 게 아니니까요. 그래서 복수 형태로 썼어요. back to something, 뭐뭐로 돌아간다. That's why the movie title Back to the Future was so phenomenal at the time because when you go back, you have to go to the past. But in this case, you're talking about traveling back and forth in time.
Yeah, it's a sort of a paradox, right?
그렇죠. 그래서 Back to the Future가 제목이 아주 기발한 거예요. 미래로 돌아가기라는 제목이니까요. 자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. The number of foreign visitors to Korea rose 23% in July, year on year, pushing the total for the first 7 months past 10 million and back to pre-pandemic levels, according to the Korea Tourism Organization. Here's headline number 2.
The water level at Obong Reservoir in Gangwon Province, which provides 87% of household water to the eastern coastal city of Gangneung, has dropped to a critically low point, prompting the city to restrict usage by locking 75% of household water meters.
강원도 강릉 지역 생활용수의 87%를 공급하는 오봉 저수지의 저수율이 최저 수준으로 떨어짐에 따라 강릉시가 수도 계량기를 75%까지 잠그는 제한 급수를 시행했습니다.
Yeah, this is a very serious sort of
Yeah,
situation
it sounds like it.
that's happening. It seems like the rest of the country is sort of experiencing this rain, this deluge of flooding and things like this. But the eastern coastline of the Gangneung
Gangwon,
area
yeah.
in Gangwon Province here, they're experiencing severe drought. In fact, President Lee issued a state of disaster, a natural disaster zone in this
Yeah.
area because water levels at this reservoir have fallen below the 15% threshold, meaning that's sort of a serious level, right? A threshold. And that means that 75% of households are having their water usage restricted, meaning things like showering, doing the dishes, just drinking water, right? Potable water is very, it's lacking. And also we've seen pictures of fire trucks, water tanks really delivering water to this area to provide the residents there.
You said Gangneung is suffering from drought. D-R-A-U-G-H-T.
O-U.
Oh, sorry.
O-U-G-H-T.
Oh, sorry. That's right. Thank you. I don't have
I think
that
you're
word in
thinking
front
of
of me.
draft.
Ah, that's
Is that
right.
draft? Yeah,
그러게요.
in the British way. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for correcting me there. 다시 한번요. D-R-O-U-G-H-T. Drought. 이게 가뭄이죠. 그래서 강릉이 지금 이런 상황에 있습니다. So they are restricting the usage of household water.
Yeah, so when you restrict usage of something, you're limiting, right? Or controlling how much or how often something can be used.
Yeah. Restrict. 제한하다.
Yeah.
Usage, 사용.
Yeah, the word usage is interesting because use and usage both are in noun form. Use, of course, can be used as as a verb as well.
Yeah,
but use is more general, but usage is used in more formal situations. So here we're talking about water usage. So that's why that word is used.
아하. USAGE 이게 사용인데요. 좀 공식적인 느낌이 있어요. USE만 써도 사용도 되지만 좀 더 공식적인 usage가 여기서 이제 사용을 restrict 제한한다 이렇게 목적어로 쓰이고 있는 거죠. To restrict usage. All right, let's have a look at another term here. Household water meters.
Yeah, a meter, of course, is a device that measures things. Think of a taxi, metagi, right? Meta.
Yeah.
It's the meter, right?
Yeah.
So a household water meter is a device that's installed in homes that measures how much water each household uses.
Water meter. 이게 약간 발음이 라임이 되네요. 똑같진 않지만. 그래서 이제 물을 얼만큼 사용하는지를 측정하는 계량기가 되겠죠.
Yeah.
근데 어디서 사용하는 물이냐면 household.
Yes.
그래서 집에서 가정용 수도 계량기를 household water meter.
We also have gas meters in our homes,
Ah,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
그렇죠. 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. The water level at Obong Reservoir in Gangwon Province, which provides 87% of household water to the eastern coastal city of Gangneung, has dropped to a critically low point, prompting the city to restrict usage by locking 75% of household water meters.
South Korea has been ranked 41st among the world's most peaceful countries, according to the 2025 Global Peace Index compiled by the Australian think tank Institute for Economics and Peace, rising 2 places from last year.
호주 싱크탱크 경제평화연구소가 세계 각국의 평화 수준을 측정해 작성하는 세계 평화지수의 올해 보고서에서 한국은 전체 조사 대상국 163개국 중 41위에 오르며 전년보다 순위가 2계단 상승했습니다.
Yeah, so what this index looks at, there are 23 indicators across 3 sort of categories. Things like domestic and international conflict, obviously, social safety and security, as well as militarization. And based on this, Korea received a score of 1.736. The lower the score, the higher level of peace. And that is 41st among 163 countries that were tallied here. Iceland was number 1, followed by Ireland, New Zealand, Australia, and Switzerland.
주로 그러면 사회적으로, 정치적으로, 또 군사적으로 얼마나 평화로운지, 안전한지 이런 것들을 보고 점수를 내는 거군요. So you said we were 41st
Yes.
in this list. Let's have a look at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, on the bottom of the list, if you look on the flip side, I said
Yeah.
163 countries were evaluated.
Yeah.
North Korea ranked 149th, making it the second least peaceful country in Asia. The least peaceful was Myanmar, of course, with the military coup there happening a couple of years ago.
아시아 국가 중에서는 가장 이제 이 평화 지수가 안 좋은 국가가 미얀마, 그다음에 북한이었군요. 또 그래서 가장 이제 우수한 성적을 보인 가장 평화로운 나라들은 보면은 아까 아이슬란드 얘기하셨고 그다음에 아일랜드, 뉴질랜드, 호주, 스위스.
Yeah.
영어로는 Switzerland라고 하죠.
Yeah, we often think Switzerland as a peaceful country or neutral
I do.
country, I should say.
Yeah.
But they do have a very strong military there, I imagine, as far as my knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look at to be ranked.
Yeah, to be ranked obviously is it's the passive voice to rank something.
Yeah.
So when you rank something, you're given a position or level on a list or a scale when you're comparing things. This headline could easily have been written, South Korea has ranked
Yep.
41st among the world as well.
Exactly. 사실 여기서 이제 be ranked가 몇 위를 차지하다라는 뜻인데요. 이렇게 순위 얘기할 때 비동사 빼도 괜찮아요. 그래서 이 헤드라인을 South Korea has ranked 라고 해도 의미는 동일합니다.
Yeah.
41위를 했다 이런 뜻이겠고 And this list was compiled by the Institute for Economics and Peace.
Yeah, so when you compile something, you're collecting and gathering information and data from different sources and arranging them and sort of organizing them, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
be compiled라는 게 이제 이런 목록이 작성이 됐다라는 뜻으로 이해하시면 되는데요. compile, C-O-M-P-I-L-E라는 것 자체가 무언가를 편찬하다, 여러 가지 데이터를 모으다라는 뜻이 있습니다. 아주 공식적인 그런 느낌도 있어요. 그래서 데이터 얘기할 때 특히 많이 나오죠.
Yeah.
This list was compiled or this index was compiled by whoever.
Slightly more formal than collect, I think.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
다시 읽어보겠습니다. South Korea has been ranked 41st among the world's most peaceful countries according to the 2025 Global Peace Index compiled by the Australian think tank Institute for Economics and Peace, rising 2 places from last year. Let's move on to the next headline.
The world's first flying car built by a U.S. firm is set to begin testing operations at 2 Silicon Valley airports, with planned capabilities including driving, vertical takeoff, forward flight, vertical landing, and both air and ground maneuvering.
미국 기업이 만든 세계 최초의 하늘을 나는 자동차가 실리콘밸리의 2개의 공항에서 시험 운행을 시작합니다. 이 테스트에서 차량은 주행, 수직 이륙, 전진 비행, 수직 착륙, 공중 및 지상 가동 등의 기능을 보여줄 예정입니다.
Yeah, this company, I think it's called Aleph or Aleph, A-L-E-F. They tout it as the first true flying car in history. And what's interesting about this car, it's a road legal passenger car. So you could actually drive it on the roads. It has all the licensing, it's passed all the regulations and tests, and it can vertically take off and land, but it doesn't need a runway either. But what's interesting is that it's now sharing the airport in this test operation, and that means it needs to maneuver and sort of share airspace with other commercial airlines. And the other notable thing about this car, or flying car, I guess you
Yeah.
could say, is it's also 100% electric.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
This is something you used to only see in movies and in sci-fi books, but-
Cartoons.
cartoons.
Yeah.
But now they're really
It's
testing
become a
it out.
reality, yes.
Okay. Now let's have a look at the term testing operations.
Yeah, testing operations when something's in beta, they also say, when it's not fully launched yet. It's activities that are being carried out to sort of evaluate or check the performance and safety or quality of something, in this case, this flying car.
Okay. So is testing, in this case, used as a gerund, a noun?
Yeah, so you can say
Okay.
test operations
Right,
as well,
okay.
right? But in this, I guess the author of this wanted to use testing. It's the same meaning there.
그렇군요. 그러니까 여기서는 동명사로 쓰인 거군요. 테스팅이. 테스팅 오퍼레이션 그러면은 시험 운행이라는 뜻이 될 텐데 그것을 시작할 것이다. begin이 앞에 나오네요.
Yeah.
So they're going to begin testing operations or they're going to begin test operations.
Test operations works as well.
okay.
The other thing I want to point out, Silicon Valley, the pronunciation, a lot of people say Silicon Valley or Silicon Valley. I think the Silicon, there's the area or this neighborhood, but also there's a substance, a chemical substance, an element called silicon. But there's also a hybrid chemical called silicone, which is different. So that's something you used in your body.
Right.
Yeah.
For like the bridge of your nose
Yeah.
and other parts of your body.
Right.
Oh, is it spelled differently?
There's an E on that one. Yeah. So just be careful of the pronunciation there. Silicon.
그렇군요. 뭐 성형외과에서 많이 쓰는 그 실리콘은 스펠링이 약간 다르네요. 뒤에
Yeah.
E가 붙어요. 그리고 발음이 silicone 그때는. 근데 지금 말하는 실리콘밸리는 큰 Silicon Valley. 오케이. 자, 그래서 일단은 이렇게 날아다니는 차량의 시험 운행이 시작이 될 거예요.
Yep.
It's going to begin testing operations. I don't know if I got the grammatical word for this right. Is it a gerund or
Gerund,
is it an
yeah.
adjective? I don't know, but it's not a verb is what
Yeah,
I'm trying to say.
exactly.
Right. Okay, and what about maneuvering?
Yeah, maneuvering, M-A-N-E-U-V-E-R-I-N-G. It's when you move carefully around or skillfully around something that's tricky or strategic, right?
Yeah, exactly. Maneuvering이 뭔가 조종한다는 느낌이죠. 아니면 운전하다 이런 느낌이에요. 그래서 ground maneuvering에선 지상에서 어떻게 움직이는지 확인한다는 뜻이고 그 외에 아까 이제 vertical 수직인데 vertical landing, vertical takeoff 수직으로 착륙하는 거, 수직으로 이륙하는 거 이거 다 테스팅을 해본답니다.
Yeah, and it could be a literal where you move physically, but also if you're maneuvering around, let's say the tricks or someone's hints, things like that, you can use it in that case as well.
그래서 사실 큰 의미에서는 움직인다는 뜻으로
Right.
해석을 많이 해요. maneuvering. 스펠링이 좀 어렵거든요. 선생님 알려주세요.
Sure, M-A-N-E-U-V-E-R-I-N-G.
Alright. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. The world's first flying car built by a US firm is set to begin testing operations at two Silicon Valley airports. Silicon Valley airports. With planned capabilities including driving, vertical takeoff, forward flight, vertical landing, and both air and ground maneuvering. Now let's move on to the final headline.
A 102-year-old Japanese man has set a new Guinness World Record as the oldest person to climb Japan's Mount Fuji, breaking the record he previously set at age 96.
일본의 한 102세 할아버지가 후지산 정상에 오르면서 자신이 96세 때 세운 후지산을 등정한 최고령 남성 부문에 기네스 세계 기록을 스스로 경신했습니다.
Yeah, so this young gentleman by the name of Kokichi Akuzawa took the Yoshida route up to Mount Fuji, which takes about 6 hours round trip to complete. It took Mr. Akuzawa about 3 days and 2 nights to complete this course. And of course, he, not just his age, but he also suffers from things like shingles. He was hospitalized for heart failure earlier this year, but that did not stop him from climbing Mount Fuji, becoming the oldest ever to do it.
그래요. 이렇게 96세 때도 기록을 한번 세웠었는데 최고령 남성 이제 후지산을 등정한 그런 이제 기록을 가지고 있다가 이번에 102세가 돼서 다시 그 기록을 깨게 됐습니다. 아까 얘기했던 그 shingles는 어떤 걸까요?
Isn't it what 대상포진? It's when, yeah, I think that's what it is.
그거네요, 맞다.
Yeah. Especially when you get older, you're prone to suffering from shingles.
그러면은 그동안에 이것 때문에 좀 산을 오르지 못했다는 얘기인가요?
Well, I think this is a chronic sort of condition.
지금도
so
있어요?
he's probably
지금도?
suffering it as well. But I think the more serious thing was the hospitalization recently for heart failure.
아, 그래요. 심장 질환으로 인해서 최근에 hospitalized 입원까지 하는 일이 있었는데 그럼에도 불구하고 이렇게 후지산 등정에 성공을 했습니다.
Yeah, he was asked if he wants to do it again,
Yeah,
and he
does he?
said never again.
그래요.
But you never know.
Yeah. Well, he is the oldest person to do this.
Yeah, when you say the oldest person, it's the superlative, right? It's this person has the record for being the most aged individual to do it.
The oldest person to do something이 있으면 그럼 the youngest person to do something도 있겠네요.
Yeah, that would work as well.
여기 뭐 아무거나 다 넣을 수 있을 것 같아요. The tallest person, the shortest person,
Yeah.
뭐 등등등. 자, 그래서 지금은 이제 최고령자라는 의미의 the oldest person. 그래서 to가 붙었기 때문에 뭐뭐뭐를 한 the oldest person to climb Mount Fuji. 자, 다음으로 previously.
Previously, just something that happened or existed before a particular time or sort of an event. Earlier, it means, right?
그죠? 앞서, 이전에 이런 뜻이 있어서 TV 드라마 같은 경우에도 그 전 회차를 간략하게 소개할 때요. 이 단어 하나만 말합니다. previously
On.
이러면서 뭐 on 할 수도 있죠.
Right.
previously on 그러고 이제 프로그램 이름 해도 되는데 그래서 그 전 회차의 내용을 간략하게 몇 초 만에 딱 요약해서 보여주기도 하죠. 요즘은 사실 다 스트리밍 사이트에서 바로바로 연달아 보기 때문에 previously 이런 거 좀 안 하는 경우가 많이 있지만 그래도 네, 이렇게 합니다. 자, 다음 자, 이 헤드라인 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. A 102-year-old Japanese man has set a new Guinness World Record as the oldest person to climb Japan's Mount Fuji, breaking the record he previously set at age 96. Well, that's it for the headlines with Shane.
South Korea will assume the rotating presidency of the UN Security Council for September from today, September 2nd, by presiding over informal consultations on adopting the Council's agenda.
한국이 오늘부터 유엔 안전보장이사회 의사 일정을 채택하는 비공식 협의를 시작으로 9월 한 달 동안 안보리 의장국 임무를 맡게 됩니다. 그래요. 안보리 영어로는 줄여서 UNSC, UN Security Council인데요. 우리가 이번 달에 의장국이 되는군요.
Yeah, well, we've been on this UN Security Council since 2024 for the 2024-2025 term. Korea was in the presidency or in the president's seat in June 2024.
I guess that's 15 months ago.
Yes, because there are 15
members.
countries.
맞아.
Yes, so it's a rotating presidency. You take it in turn. So everybody gets a go
그래요.
if you're on the board, if you're on the council. And the idea is that there's a fairness, that it's not one country leading everything. And so we have it for 1 month. And it's alphabetical. So in another 15 months, well, Korea will hopefully take presidency again.
Exactly. 네, 그래요. 15개월 전에도 우리가 유엔 안보리 이 의장국 임무를 맡았습니다. 이게 15개월인 이유는 15개국이요. 돌아가면서 한 달씩 의장국 역할을 맡게 되거든요. 15개 회원국들이 알파벳 순서대로 in alphabetical order they become the rotating president or they take up the rotating presidency.
Yes.
rotating은 순환한다라는 의미로 이해가 될 것 같아요.
Yeah, go round and round and round and round.
그런데 여기서 말하는 presidency는 대통령은 아니죠.
Well, it's not just the 대통령. The word president we use as the leader or the person in charge of something. So you have a president of a company, like
Exactly.
one of the big chaebol, for exple. Each chaebol has its own president and also
company.
vice presidents. Yes, and so it's
Our company has a president.
Is it Pengsu?
Moving on.
But yes, so when we use this term presidency, we're talking about the person in charge.
그래요.
And if it's rotating, it's going one after the other. For example, we have rotating newscasters.
Yes.
Every week on Morning Special, well, I'm on a Tuesday, but I'm not on a Wednesday because the next newscaster comes on a Wednesday and so on.
그래요. 그래서 이 presidency가 대통령직을 말하기도 하지만 꼭 대통령만을 지칭하는 건 아니고요. 지금 말씀하신 것처럼 회사의 사장님도 president가 될 수 있고 우리 학급의 반장 아니면은 요즘에는 이제 반에서도 회장이라고 부르는데 그것도 president, class president라고 하죠.
Yeah, you'll find the term president used sometimes, or chairperson used sometimes, depending on the organization and depending on
이제
how it works.
의사장이 될 텐데 네, 여기서 rotating presidency 그러면은 유엔에 순환하는 의장국이 되겠습니다. 우리나라가 이번에 지금 alphabetical order대로 해서 다시 한번 의장국을 맡게 되는 거고요. We're going to be presiding over some consultations.
Yes, what does a president do? They preside, meaning they are in charge, they are leading, they are organizing everything, or they're in charge of the meeting, or in charge of proceedings, or whatever it may be. So, so that the chairperson of a board will preside over a meeting. You know, the president of a country will preside over a cabinet meeting. Basically, it means you're leading that meeting.
무언가를 이렇게 주최하는 느낌이거든요. 이번에 우리가 의장국이 됐으니까 뭔가를 주재하다 아니면 사회보다 리드하다 이런 느낌으로 보시면 될 것 같고 그다음에 이제 아까 15 member states가 있다고 하셨는데 only 5 of those have veto power,
Yes.
permanent members.
Yeah, whereas South Korea is an elected member.
Right, South Korea is not a permanent member. That's why we're going to be presiding over some informal consultations. But still, it's very meaningful because I think Korea is going to be able to voice its opinions when it comes to some of the Middle East issues, the issues in Europe as well. 지금 여러 가지 현안들이 있는데 그거에 대해서 한국의 의견을 좀 더 낼 수 있을 것
Well,
같아요.
I think it shows that Korea's position in the world is incredibly different to what it was 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Korea is a major power when it comes to diplomacy and when it comes to protecting peace.
좋습니다. 다시 한번 제가 헤드라인 읽어볼게요. South Korea will assume the rotating presidency of the UN Security Council for September from today by presiding over informal consultations on adopting the Council's agenda.
Domestic online shopping sales increased 7.3% from a year earlier in July, largely fueled by rising demand for food products and relevant services, as well as travel packages, according to Statistics Korea.
통계청 자료에 따르면 국내 7월 온라인 쇼핑 거래액이 음식료품 및 음식 서비스, 여행 부문 수요 증가에 힘입어 1년 전보다 7.3% 늘어난 것으로 집계됐습니다. 여러분은 7월 달에 온라인 쇼핑을 평소보다 좀 더 많이 하셨나요? 아마
I did.
선생님도 하셨고 아마 많이들 하셨을 것 같은데
Yeah.
우리가 네, 말씀해
I was going to
주세요.
say it's too hot to shop. It's
뭐
much easier to do it
더워서 온라인
online.
쇼핑한 이유도 있을 수 있고 그 다음에는 이제 여러 가지 지원금들도 나오고
네.
이런 이유도 있을 것 같아요. Tell us more.
Yeah, so we've seen it up by 1.57 trillion won from last year. So we're looking at 21.34 trillion won. We've had increases in food and beverages. They were up by 14% on year. Travel and transportation up by 12.8%. And people are using their smartphones and their tablets because using them, that usage has increased by 10% as well. So it's all about the mobile gadget-based shopping. That's 78.8% of these total online sales. It's up from 1.9% from last year. So more and more people are shopping online, and more people are relying on their phones or their tablets to do it.
I'm talking about 국내 온라인 쇼핑.
Yes.
Domestic online shopping.
Yes, domestic. The word domestic could be used in terms of the house,
Yes.
to do with the house, but it's also to do with in terms of your home country. Where you live, where you are based. So whenever you hear domestic purchases or domestic shopping, we're talking about in Korea, as opposed to international. So domestic online shopping is people in Korea shopping online with shops based in Korea.
Yeah. At airports, do you see this word often? Domestic?
Well, you have domestic flights and international flights. So I think you'll see it more at Kimpo than you will at Incheon, because Kimpo is the home of domestic flights for Seoul. But yes, certainly domestic flights, international flights are often used.
아, 그래요. 그래서 김포공항 같은 경우에는 이제 국내선, 그다음에 국제선이 건물이 별도로 되어 있잖아요. 물론 바로 옆에 있지만. 그러면은 이제 국내선 청사 같은 경우에는 domestic terminal? 이렇게 부를까요? Domestic
Yeah,
flights.
I haven't. Yeah, I've heard the term domestic flights. I've not heard the term domestic terminal. It might be used. We have to look it up.
그래요. 어쨌든 국내 선은 domestic flights고
네.
국제선은 international flights. 네, 국내 얘기를 할 때는 domestic가 이렇게 국내의 의미가 있고, 그 다음에는 좀 더 협소한 의미로는 집 안, 그래서 가정 내라는 의미도 있어요, domestic가.
네.
근데 지금 같은 경우에는 이 가정을 얘기하는 것보다는 이제 국내를 얘기한다고
Yeah.
봐야 되겠죠?
Rather than the home, it's the home country.
왜냐면은 이제 domestic 온라인 쇼핑에 대비되는 게 우리 직구 같은 거 있잖아요. 그래서 international 온라인 쇼핑도 많이 하긴 하는데 네, 지금은 국내만 보고 있는 거고. What about the expression as well as?
And what?
Well, I want to
As
know
well
what's the
as
meaning
well as
of
what?
As well as this word.
Well, yes, because as well as we used to say and this. If you use and too much, it doesn't sound great. And we already in this headline said for food products and related services. We could say and travel packages, but it's much nicer, it's less clunkier to use as well as. And as well as also differentiates this other thing from the things that came before it.
그러니까 and랑 비슷하긴 한데 뭐뭐뿐만 아니라 이것도라는 의미로 as well as라고 하는군요. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Domestic online shopping sales increased 7.3% from a year earlier in July, largely fueled by rising demand for food products and relevant services, as well as travel packages, according to Statistics Korea.
Spanish authorities have arrested climate activists after they smeared Barcelona's Sagrada Familia Basilica with red and black paint to express outrage at summer forest fires that have ravaged large parts of the country.
스페인에서 사그라다 파밀리아로 불리는 성가정 성당에 붉은색과 검은색 페인트를 뿌리며 시위를 벌인 환경운동가들이 체포됐습니다. 이들은 올여름 대규모 산불로 큰 피해가 발생했음에도 이에 대한 정부 대응이 미흡했다는 이유로 이번 행동에 나선 것으로 알려졌습니다.
Speaking of time travel in the 90s, I remember going to Barcelona with my family. And
Did you go to
yes, of
the
course,
Sagrada Familia?
you have to. It's like the Eiffel Tower, for example.
Gaudi would be proud.
Yeah, Gaudi's monument, this incredibly beautiful cathedral that
Yeah.
was constantly under construction.
It's still under construction.
but
It's going to
almost-
be
almost
completed
there.
next year, I think.
Yeah, however, to paint it with red and black paint is quite a strong statement. And the activists have said that they wanted to protest the government's complicity in these wildfires that have hit all through the Iberian Peninsula. They said, these activists, that 70% of the country's wildfires are related to livestock farming. They've caused the deaths of 4 people. They've ravaged something like 870,000 acres of land, and that's just in the last 2 weeks. So Spain has a big issue with the climate crisis and with these fires, but also there is the question of why are you defacing, why are you damaging a national
Yeah.
monument?
이 사그라다 파밀리아 뭐 잘 아시는 분들은 또 잘 아실
네.
겁니다. 우리는 이제 성가정 성당이라고 하는데 가우디가 지은 성당이죠. 그런데 가우디가 1926년에 사망을 했는데 그때 당시에도 뭐 20% 정도밖에는 완성이 되지 않은 건물이었고 내년이면은 딱 이제 가우디 사망한 지 100주년이거든요.
네.
내년에 완성 예정이에요. 그래서 너무나 바르셀로나에 있어서는 중요한 건물이고 역사적인 의미가 있고 그런데 바르셀로나의 환경운동가들이 여기에다 페인트를 이렇게 칠하면서 이제 어떤 환경의 메시지를 전하고 있는 게 효과적인지는 잘 모르겠어요. 자, 표현 보겠습니다. They
Yes.
smeared paint.
Smear. To smear is to spread something over something else, not in a delicate way or a polite way, but in a quite dirty, messy, and chaotic way. Think of a child doing finger painting. Some children are very delicate and put little dots, and some children put their whole hand in the paint and then just smear it across the paper.
그래요. How do you spell smear?
S-M-E-A-R.
네, 이게 마구 문지르다라는 뜻입니다. 그래서 예쁘게 페인팅을 한 게 아니고요. 그냥 스프레이를 마구 이렇게 뿌리면서 더럽힌 거죠.
But you can also have a smear of butter on your toast or a smear of cottage cheese on your bread.
그럴 경우에는 이제 명사가 되는 건데. 자, 다음으로 expressing outrage.
Is to show your anger. And it's not just a little bit of anger, it's a lot of anger. When we use the term outrage, it's a really big, really furious anger.
아하, outrage, O-U-T-R-A-G-E. A-G-E 한 단어고요. 분노입니다. 분노를 표출한 그런 행동이라고 볼 수 있겠네요. 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Spanish authorities have arrested climate activists after they smeared Barcelona's Sagrada Familia Basilica with red and black paint to express outrage at summer forest fires that have ravaged large parts of the country. Let's move on to the next headline.
K-pop boy group Stray Kids has claimed its 7th number one on the Billboard 200 with its new album Karma, becoming the only act in the chart's history to have all 7 of its albums debut at the top spot.
그룹 스트레이 키즈가 새 앨범 카르마로 빌보드 메인 앨범 차트 빌보드 200에서 7번 연속 1위를 차지했습니다. 한 아티스트의 앨범 7장이 연이어 차트 1위로 데뷔한 것은 빌보드 역사상 이들이 처음입니다. 정말 축하드려요.
Yeah, I
Stray
mean,
Kids.
bigger than BTS when it comes to the Billboard 200 album
그렇죠.
charts.
앨범 판매량과 지금 이렇게 1위를 한 기록만으로 봤을 때는 빌보드 역사상 최고니까 뭐 K-팝뿐만 아니라
Yeah.
대단한 기록이에요.
Yes, so they had 2 number ones in 2022. They had another 2 in 2023 and another 2 in 2024. And now 2025 they've got their 7th. This is just for albums, not singles. That's registered on different charts.
Right.
And it's physical album sales as well as track equivalent albums and streaming equivalent albums. And it's fair to say that Stray Kids are very big internationally. They've been touring a lot. They've been growing their international fandom. There are a lot of people who love them. So it seems like there's a lot of people buying their albums and
네.
listening to their music.
그래요. 온라인, 오프라인 다 이거를 이제 하나의 계산 방법으로 변환을 해가지고요. 앨범 판매량을 쭉 놓고 랭킹을 하는 거라고 합니다. 그래서 지금은 이제 Karma라는 앨범이지만 그 외에도 Ordinary, Maxident, 5-Star, Rockstar, 8, Hop 이런 앨범들이 또 있었군요. 자, 표현 보겠습니다. The Only Act.
Yes. And act here means a performer or group of performers. When you used to go to the variety hall or to the cabaret, the compere would say, and our next act is Stray Kids or whoever it might be. So it's just meaning a group of some kind
Yeah.
who are going to perform. It doesn't have to be singers, could be comedians, could be actors, could be anything.
명사고요. 그룹이란 뜻입니다. 여기서는 이제 Stray Kids를 말하겠죠?
It could also be a single person.
그 사람이
Yeah.
될 수도 있어요. 그러네요. 그러면 어떻게 쓸 수 있죠? As a single person.
So we say, for example, the next act is Sue singing the works of Celine Dion.
그러니까 뭐 솔로 아티스트가
네.
나올 때도 the next act 이렇게
Yeah.
지칭을 할 수 있군요. 좋습니다. 자, 다음으로 debut at the top spot.
Yes, we have debut, but in English we say debut. It means you're starting, you're releasing something for the first time, and at the top spot means you're at number one, you're at the very top of the chart.
자, 다시 한번 헷갈릴 수 있으니까 영어식으로는 이 단어 어떻게 발음한다고요?
Debut.
debut 이렇게 발음합니다. 그래서 차트 1위로 데뷔한다라는 뜻이에요. 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. K-pop boy group Stray Kids has claimed its 7th number one on the Billboard 200 with its new album Karma, becoming the only act in the chart's history to have all 7 of its albums debut at the top spot. Now here's our final headline.
A basketball card signed by Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant has sold at auction for $12.9 million, setting a new record as the most expensive sports collectible card in history.
미국 프로농구 NBA 선수였던 마이클 조던과 코비 브라이언트의 친필 사인이 담긴 농구 카드가 경매에서 $1290만, 우리 돈으로 180억 원에 가까운 가격에 팔리면서 스포츠 수집 카드 역사상 가장 비싼 낙찰가로 기록됐습니다.
It may have set the record for the most expensive card, but I also think it could set the record for the longest name of a card. It's called the 2007-2008 Upper Deck Exquisite Collection Dual Logo Man Autographs Jordan and Bryant card. That's the full name of it. The owner had it for more than a decade.
Sure.
And now finally it's being sold off. There was another card that was sold off, Babe Ruth's 1932 World Series jersey.
No, I think-
Not
yeah, that was not a card.
Sorry,
Yeah.
no, it was a collectible. Excuse
Yes.
me. You can also watch me make mistakes on YouTube too.
That's okay.
Yeah, this jersey by Babe Ruth, who was one of the best and most brilliant baseball players of this time, sold for £18.1 million last year. However, this is coming up on that with $12.9 million and featuring two of the biggest and brightest stars in basketball. Michael Jordan, who did amazingly with the Chicago Bulls and then went on to play baseball. And then Kobe Bryant, who tragically died in a helicopter crash 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So this card has changed hands for a lot of money.
네, 이런 스포츠 카드 중에서는 가장 비싼 낙찰가로 경매에 이번에 낙찰이 됐고요. 근데 이제 스포츠 물품 중에서는 베이브 루스의 저지라는 것은 그 운동 티셔츠를 얘기하는 거죠.
Yes, yes.
네, 그 다음으로 두 번째로 비싼 스포츠 물품이 됐는데 옥션에 나온 것 중에서 어쨌든 이제 수집 카드 요거를 저는 전혀 컬렉트를 하지 않았었지만
네.
또 주변에 보면은 어릴 때 이런 거 모으는 친구들이 있긴 있었거든요.
Yeah, I mean, in the US, baseball cards are very popular. In the UK, football cards or football stickers were very popular. I don't know whether they're still doing them now in the UK, but certainly baseball cards have always been a big hit in the US.
자, 근데 친필 사인이 담긴 카드라는 게 아주 독특한 점이에요. This was signed by both Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, and if something is signed by somebody, they have put their signature on it, their
Yeah.
autograph.
Okay.
For example, I have several signed posters and pamphlets from famous people I've met. And I treasure them.
signed, signed라고 하면은 사인이 된이라는 뜻인데요. 조금 전에 선생님이 너무 중요한 명사 두 개를 언급해 주셨어요. signature 그리고 autograph.
Yes.
The two are different.
So if I was a fan, I would ask Sue for her autograph.
Yeah.
If I was the boss and Sue had a new contract, I would ask for her signature.
Our boss
Yes.
asked us for our signatures not too long ago.
Exactly. Yeah. So you sign a contract and that you use your signature, not your autograph. But if
그렇죠.
you're a celebrity and somebody like last week, a Morning Special fan asked me to sign a bit of paper. And so I gave them my autograph.
자, 우리가 연예인 사인은 영어로 특정한 단어가 따로 있어서 autograph라고 해요. autograph. 이렇게 불러요. 연예인 사인, 뭐 연예인이나 스포츠 스타나 이런 이제 내가 좋아하는 사람의 사인, 그거는 autograph라고 하고 그 다음에 서류에다가 사인할 때 있잖아요. 우리 이제 도장 대신에 서양에서나 뭐 우리나라에서도 요즘에 이제 사인으로 많이 하는데 그게 signature예요. 네. 그렇다면은 이렇게 서명이 된 거, 사인이 된 거는 그러면은 동사가 다른 게 있느냐? 그건 아니에요. 이게 이제 형용사로서 이렇게 사인이 됐다, 서명이 됐다 할 땐 둘 다 signed라고 표현을 합니다. So these cards were signed by Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. You can find their autographs on the card.
That's right.
Now, what is a collectible?
A collectible something is going to be an item of some kind that you keep. And you keep either because you love it and you have a collection of it, or because you love money and you want to collect all of them and then sell them for lots of money later on. So it's something that you collect either as a memento or as an investment.
예. collectible 이 명사일 때는 수집품이 되는 거고요. 형용사면은 이제 수집 가능한이란 뜻이 되겠죠. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A basketball card signed by Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant has sold at auction for $12.9 million, setting a new record as the most expensive sports collectible card in history. All right, well, that's it for the headlines with Paul Matthews.
Korea experienced its hottest summer on record this year, with the national average temperature from June to August reaching 25.7 degrees Celsius and daily highs averaging over 30 degrees.
올해 6월부터 8월 사이 전국 평균 기온이 섭씨 25.7도를 기록하고 일 최고 기온 평균도 30도를 넘는 등 올해 우리나라가 역대 가장 더운 여름을 보낸 것으로 집계됐습니다. And it felt that way.
Oh, it absolutely felt that way. I don't think we need the KMA to tell us this because we felt it ourselves every day and every night. But according to data released yesterday, Korea did endure its hottest summer to date this year. This is ever since records began to be collected in 1973.
To date라고 하면은 지금까지라는 뜻이죠.
Up until now.
Right. Right. Of course, we don't know what the weather was like a million years ago.
We don't know in
We
the
don't-
Joseon dynasty.
Right. Oh, that's less than a million years ago, but yeah.
What the
exactly.
weather was like. But these types of weather records started being collected in 1973. And from that point on, this summer is now on record as the hottest summer to date up until now, with the national average temperature from June to August
Yep.
reaching 25.7 degrees Celsius. This is the average. So, of course, we felt many, many hotter days.
Exactly. 그래요. 기록이 되어 있는 것 중에 가장 더운 여름이었습니다. 영어로는 on record라는 표현으로 이게 다 함축이 돼요. So this summer was the hottest summer on record. 자, 그걸 우리가 겪었죠. Experience.
Oh, yes. We experienced this every day and every night. To experience something is to feel something, but not just feel it, but usually feel it by undergoing something. So you are learning it really with your body.
Yeah,
And in this case, we used it in the past tense. So Korea experienced its hottest summer on record this year, means it underwent.
Yeah.
It went through it.
겪었다. 동사로 experienced 과거 형태 겪었다가 여기 나왔고요. 명사 경험 experience. 그다음에 형용사로도 쓸 수 있어요.
Yes.
자주는 아니지만 경험이 많다라는 뜻으로 Oh, Janet is an experienced broadcaster.
Right. Oh, yes, we can use it like that. You add the D just the same to make it an adjective. So an experienced teacher, you might be an experienced DJ,
Yeah.
an experienced whatever job or position you want to put there to show, how much history you have with that.
Exactly. Another word for experienced in that case would be seasoned. 자, 이렇게 형용사로도 쓸 수 있지만 사실 좀 덜 쓰여요. 나머지 동사와 명사에 비해서는. 그래서 경험 그리고 경험하다. 한국이 겪은 여름을 얘기하면서 겪다라는 의미로 여기서 썼는데 자, 최고 기온 같은 경우에는 30도를 넘었단 말이죠.
That's right. The highest on record, average daily highs hit 30.7 degrees. I think the other day I was getting ready for the morning and, I looked online to see what the, daily highs were going to be.
Yeah.
And it was, I think, a little bit under 30 that day. And I thought, wow.
Finally.
It's not so hot. That's how much we've become used to the 30-degree mark.
Exactly. All summer we look at the daily highs for the day. 오늘의 최고 기온이 몇 도일까 우리가 많이 살펴보죠. 이 최고 기온이라는 뜻으로 daily high. 하나면은 high지만 여러 개의 온도를 얘기하고 있다면은 daily highs. So in Korea, we have a wide range of temperatures. Even though it's not that diverse, still, in some regions it'll be a little bit cooler, and in some regions it's going to be hotter.
Right.
So the highs today, for example, I don't know, but it could be between 29 and 31 degrees.
Right, in that range.
Yeah.
And I think another thing about this story that made things so miserable for all of us here on the peninsula was the tropical nights. So I think that's what literally kept us up at night. Tropical nights, which are defined by temperatures that stay above the
Yeah.
25-degree mark. That's what just sort of, made things so horrible at
I
night.
know.
And as far as that goes, it wasn't the hottest in terms of number of days. Last year in 2024, we had more tropical nights.
We did.
But nevertheless,
Okay.
it was hot and sticky at night.
그래요. Tropical Nights 열대야 때문에도 정말 여러분 고생 많으셨습니다. 이것 때문에 miserable 했다라고 아까 하셨는데요. 이제 미제라블이 아니고 영어로는 miserable 삼음절이에요. Miserable.
Miserable. Oh, yeah.
그래서 이게 굉장히 견디기 힘들다. 너무 뭐라 그럴까요? 그 상황 자체가 힘든 상황인 걸 암시하는 표현이죠. 이 하이가 아까 얘기하면서 이제 그 최고 기온도 될 수 있지만 최고 기록도 될 수 있고요. 명사입니다. A high or highs라고 하면은 이제 가장 높은 것이라는 뜻이 있습니다. 다시 한번 읽어볼까요? Korea experienced its hottest summer on record this year with the national average temperature from June to August reaching 25.7 degrees Celsius and daily highs averaging over 30 degrees. Here's our next headline.
Unclaimed financial assets have continued to grow in recent years, despite a series of recovery campaigns, totaling 18.4 trillion won as of the end of June, according to the Financial Supervisory Service.
금융감독원 FSS에 따르면은 1년의 대국민 환급 캠페인에도 불구하고 주인이 찾아가지 않은 숨은 금융자산 규모가 최근 몇 년 사이 꾸준히 늘어나 6월 말 기준 18조 4천억 원에 달하는 것으로 나타났습니다. Alright, tell us more.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Let's start with talking about what unclaimed financial assets are. It's just a fancy way to say money that is yours that you haven't received or gotten yet. And so this includes a wide variety of things. It's money that you've left at the bank. Oftentimes it could be perks or benefits given by your credit card company. But in any case, these unclaimed financial assets are growing. According to the FSS, people are either forgetting to pick them up, and a lot of times we just don't know that the money is out there.
Yeah, exactly. 참 안타깝네요. 지금 찾아가지 않은 자산이 18조 원 이상이라고 하는데 자, 지금 얘기했던 unclaimed money or unclaimed financial assets 이게 찾아가지 않은이라는 단어가 사용이 되고 있어요. unclaimed라는 게 내가 주인인데 그걸 claim하지 않았다. 그렇게 찾아가지 않았다라는 뜻이 되겠고요. reclaimed라는 표현도 있어요. 이건 뭐 조금 다르지만
Sure.
내가 이제 되찾는 거예요. 그럴 때는. 예를 들자면은 우리가 수화물 같은 거 여행하고 나서 가방을 되찾을 때 그 수화물 찾는 곳을 reclaim 이렇게 표현하는 것 같아요. 그때는 이제 내 짐을 내가 되찾는 것이고
Right.
지금 이 돈은 되찾는 게 아니라 그냥 이제 찾아가야 되는데 안 찾아갔어요. So it's unclaimed.
And the feeling of that word claim makes it seem like it is your money to
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
So you're not asking for somebody else's money. It's unclaimed because it's yours, but you didn't pick it up. You didn't collect it. That's why sometimes we call it forgotten money. So you might not know that you have money or points or mileage on your credit card
Yeah.
or through your insurance, perhaps, that is yours, but you haven't claimed it.
Exactly.
And so what the FSS wants to do and is doing is encouraging these banking institutions to make it easier for all of us customers, consumers to get this money, to claim this money for ourselves. So that includes maybe more email notifications, maybe more text messages saying, hey, you have money
Yeah,
here.
exactly.
Pick it up.
Recently, we had a story coming in from Australia, and it was about lottery money that had been unclaimed, and it's quite a lot of money. But they said they're going to give whoever the money should go to a couple of years.
Oh, okay.
So there's plenty of time, I suppose, to discover that you have
A
you have
lost
that.
ticket,
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
I think every National Lottery Commission has a different deadline
Yeah.
or period after which the money expires. In the case of the Lotto Commission, I think the money goes to a good cause.
Right.
So if you don't pick it up, they use it to, help communities. But yeah, if you have just money on your credit card, then you should try to find a way to get it. There are
Exactly.
websites where you can find out.
Yeah, exactly.
What money is out there under my name.
And it says here that this is despite a series of recovery campaigns. So the website would be one of them.
Exactly. So despite means even though these efforts have been made, despite these recovery campaigns to try to help consumers get their money, a lot of times people just don't know.
Exactly. Despite something, in spite of랑 같은 의미죠. 아마 이렇게 많이 외우셨을 것 같아요. 뭐뭐에도 불구하고. A series of 1년의 recovery campaigns, 돌려받을 수 있는 캠페인. 그러니까 여러분 돌려받으세요, 환급 받으세요 하는 그런 캠페인이 많이 있었음에도 불구하고 아직까지도 이렇게 미청구된, 찾아가지 않은 자산이 많다고 합니다. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. Unclaimed financial assets have continued to grow in recent years, despite a series of recovery campaigns, totaling 18.4 trillion won as of the end of June, according to the Financial Supervisory Service.
Seoul welcomed 1.36 million foreign tourists in July, a record high for the month, with city officials attributing the surge to the global popularity of K-content, such as the animated film K-pop Demon Hunters.
올해 7월 서울을 찾은 외국인 관광객이 136만 명에 달해 동기간 기준 역대 최대치를 기록했습니다. 이에 대해 서울시 당국은 애니메이션 영화 K-pop 데몬 헌터스를 포함한 K-컨텐츠의 글로벌 흥행이 영향을 미친 것으로 분석했습니다. K-pop Demon Hunters.
My husband is obsessed with K-pop Demon Hunters. He
Really?
loves the movie and all the songs from the movie. So, I
Didn't
think
know
he
that.
will like the story if he's listening right now. But yes, it's true. People are coming to Korea and coming to Korea in droves, according to the Seoul Metropolitan Government. The latest July tally is up 23.1% from a year earlier. And that means that the number of foreign tourists from January to July stands again at a record high of 8.28 million people.
왜 그러면은 올해 7월에 이렇게나 많은 관광객들이 서울을 찾았을까요? What's the reason? What can it be attributed to?
This is what the tourism agency wants to know so they can keep repeating this success. This success can be attributed to, in some part, the popularity of K-content, such as the aforementioned K-pop Demon Hunters and other shows and programs and entertainment out there.
Yeah, well, now that K-pop Demon Hunters is the most watched video of all time on Netflix,
Ever.
Yeah.
Number one.
I guess that played a big part. Something can be attributed to 뭐뭐뭐. 자, 이 표현이 나오면은 무엇에 기인한다. 이런 이유가 있다라는 뜻이거든요. 자, 어떻게 쓰냐면은 the number of tourists in Seoul can be attributed to 캐대헌. 자, 아시겠죠? 캐대헌 덕분에 서울로 온 외국인 관광객 수가 굉장히 많은 것으로 이렇게 보여진다는 겁니다.
Right.
이렇게 기인하는 걸로 보여져요.
So you can attribute something to something.
Yeah.
So you can attribute the number of visitors to the success of K-content. You can use it like that too.
그렇게 썼을 때는 attribute A to B. A가 현상이고요. B가 그 원인이에요. 그죠? You can attribute the success of, tourism in Korea to K-pop Demon Hunters and other K-content.
And other K-content, for
there's
sure.
other, yeah.
This is absolutely not a new phenomenon. I mean, we can go all the way back to maybe Winter Sonata.
Oh, yeah.
So you had tourists from
Yeonsama.
Japan coming to see all the places where Yeonsama sat
Yeah.
and where he ate. So this is not a new thing, but I think for 2025, it's all about Rumi and Mira.
I know.
And their other friend, I forget her name. Oh, yes.
Well, the group is Huntrix,
Yeah,
of
the
course.
group is Huntrix.
Well, this is an animated film. For those of you who've been living under a rock, we have to explain what this is. What is an animated film?
An animated film is, well, when you're animated, you are highly energized.
Yeah.
You are perhaps very perky. That's what you describe as animated. When something is animated as a film, it is in picture.
그렇죠. 굉장히 동작이 큰 것도 애니메이티드고요. 그 다음에 애니메이션으로 했다도 애니메이티드예요. 여기서는 당연히 후자가 되겠고 애니메이션 영화를 animated film이라고 합니다.
And of course, the Japanese genre of anime also originally comes from this.
맞습니다. 그리고 제가 조금 전에 unless you've been living under a rock 이렇게 얘기를 했었죠. 이거는 정말 캐대헌을 모를 수가 없는 현실을 제가 약간 sarcastic하게 표현을 한 거예요. 영어식 표현으로.
Right. So when there's some kind of huge news that everyone should know, if you don't know it, you might say, you must have been living under a rock.
Exactly. And I'm usually that person for most things, but this
Right.
time I did watch 캐대헌. I'm usually very late. All right, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Seoul welcomed 1.36 million foreign tourists in July, a record high for the month, with city officials attributing the surge to the global popularity of K-content, such as the animated film K-pop Demon Hunters. Let's move on now.
A growing number of Koreans under 30 are being diagnosed with diabetes, with those in the lower income bracket facing a significantly higher risk, according to a study by the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency.
네. 질병관리청의 연구 결과 30세 미만 소아청소년 및 젊은 성인들이 당뇨 진단을 받는 경우가 국내에서 점점 늘고 있으며 이중 저소득층은 당뇨에 특히 더 취약한 것으로 나타났습니다. 당뇨는 영어로 diabetes.
Diabetes.
Yep. Tell us more.
So this study is based on a 13-year nationwide study that involved 130,000 people under the age of 30, so relatively young people, and it found that young people from low-income households are at far greater risk of getting diabetes of both types, type 1 and type 2, but in general, overall, the incidence of diabetes is on the rise among young people in Korea.
그래요. 아무래도 우리가 이제 식습관이 예전과 많이 달라졌기 때문이 아닐까 하는 생각이 좀 듭니다. I feel like it could be attributed to the poor diet. Not poor as in, you know, we're being malnutritioned, but sort of too sweet, too
Right.
fatty, you know,
Too salty, too
yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
and perhaps maybe too Western in some ways
yeah.
for a country whose cuisine used to be not so fatty.
Exactly. 그래서 이렇게 당뇨 진단을 받는 젊은 층이 많다고 해요. 자, 무엇으로 진단을 받다? Be diagnosed with something.
Yes. So a diagnosis is a report or a judgment that you receive from a medical professional, from a doctor that says you have something.
Yeah.
You have this disease or you have this illness. So if you are diagnosed with, used in the passive voice, so to be diagnosed with something means you've received this news that you are sick or that you have some illness.
자, be diagnosed with something에서 diagnosed 의 스펠링 알려주시겠어요?
D-I-A-G-N-O-S-E-D.
네.
Be diagnosed with.
네, D-I-A-G-N-O-S-E-D. 자, 그 다음에는 이제 어떤 소득 계층을 얘기하면서 higher income bracket, lower income bracket, bracket라는 단어가 나와요.
Right. So for tax purposes or just even in normal daily conversation, we have different brackets of basically how much money you make a year. And for people in a lower income bracket, so you make less money a year, in that bracket or category, these people are seen as being more vulnerable to the disease.
보이는 라디오로 확인하신 분들은 조금 전에 자넷 선생님이 손으로 괄호 표시처럼 이렇게 bracket라고 하는 거 보셨을 거예요. 왜냐하면 bracket가 괄호라는 뜻도 있어요. 물론 여기서는 계층이라는 뜻이 되겠지만 같이 기억하시면 되겠습니다.
Usually for bracket, if I may say, it's not the circular parentheses, but
Is
it's
it the
like
square one?
the square one that is like 90 degrees. So those are brackets.
동그란 괄호는 parenthesis 쓰고 네모난 건 bracket인가요?
Right.
그렇구나.
So brackets are always like the square ones. So anyways, but
Interesting.
in
Okay.
this use, we are just talking about a category or group of people.
맞아요. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A growing number of Koreans under 30 are being diagnosed with diabetes, with those in the lower income bracket facing a significantly higher risk, according to a study by the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency. Now let's move on to the final headline.
3 brothers from Scotland have set a new record by rowing more than 14,000 kilometers non-stop and unsupported across the Pacific Ocean from Peru to Australia over nearly 140 days.
스코틀랜드 출신의 3형제가 140일 동안 손으로 노를 저어 페루에서 호주까지 14,000km가 넘는 거리를 이동해 무기항, 무지원으로 태평양을 최단 시간 횡단하는 세계 신기록을 세웠습니다. So they didn't have an electronic device to row for them. They used their hands to row the boat.
Nope, exactly. So this was an unsupported, unassisted effort. So that means they didn't have a bigger boat tugging them. They didn't have any other engine, stronger engine pulling them in the water. And another important part of this is that they didn't have any food drops So they didn't have any people or another boat bringing them food or supplies through their journey.
Wow.
So,
So I guess they
everything
had-
they ate was with them
Right.
on their boat, which makes it so much more difficult.
Definitely. So the exact time it took them was 139 days, 5 hours and 52 minutes. So just under 140 days. As you said, they were unsupported.
They were unsupported, right? So to support someone is to help them or assist them. So in this case, their effort, the brothers' effort, was unsupported. They did not receive any help from passing boats or, anyone dropping them food. We should mention that these brothers, Jamie, Ewan, and Lachlan McLean from Scotland, were not new to this. They were already sailing experts. They had already gone across other bodies of water, but this is truly a world record for them.
Absolutely. 자, 이 삼형제가 unsupported, 어떠한 지원도, 도움도 받지 않고 이렇게 항해를 했다는 얘기예요. 근데 아까 중간중간 누가 음식을 가져다 주지 않았기 때문에 처음부터 준비해 갔다고 했는데 그러면 며칠치의 음식을 가지고 갔을지도 좀 궁금해요. When they first started out, how many days worth of food did they have?
Yes, so they had to prepare all this food in advance. So they took 150 days
Okay.
worth of food, expecting to be out in the ocean for that long. And of course, all their food was freeze-dried,
Yeah.
so it makes it very small and compact, and you can just have it with you anywhere. You don't need a stove or any kind of heat source. Sometimes we call this food astronaut food.
Yeah.
Yeah, just in normal conversation. So they took freeze-dried food that would last them 150 days.
처음부터 한 150일 정도의 동결 건조된 음식을 챙겨갔었군요. 근데 다행히 150일 안 걸렸어요. 그래서 음식이 모자르지 않았는데 it took them about 140 days. It says here that they rowed their boat for actually not for, but over nearly 140 days. So let's have a look at over.
Over.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds simple, but we use this a lot when something is over, something there's a limit or a line or some kind of deadline, and to be over it means you've passed it or surpassed it.
But in this case, we're talking about a duration. So we'd be talking about doing something for a certain period,
Oh,
right?
yes, exactly. Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood your lead in there. Yes, for over a duration of time,
Yeah.
is to go for that whole distance of time. Throughout that time.
맞아요. 사실 모든 단어가 그렇듯이 여러 가지 뜻이 있는데 over가 물론 뭐 위에 이런 의미도 있겠지만
Yes.
기간 얘기를 할 때는 얼마 동안의 기간에 걸쳐라는 뜻이 있습니다. 자, 그러면 이거 기억하면서 제가 다시 읽어볼 테니까요. 들어보세요. Three brothers from Scotland have set a new record by rowing more than 14,000 kilometers non-stop and unsupported across the Pacific Ocean, from Peru to Australia, over nearly 140 days. Well, that's it for the headlines with Janet Lee.
The number of couples tying the knot in Korea has almost halved over the past 30 years, and births have plummeted to just 1/3 of 1995 figures, according to Statistics Korea.
지난 30년간 우리나라의 혼인 건수가 거의 절반으로 줄고 출생아 수는 3분의 1 수준으로 급감했다는 통계청 조사 결과가 발표됐습니다. Another look at the demographic situation in Korea. We've been talking about less married couples, but to actually see that the number has gone down almost 50% over the past 30 years, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is quite considerable. And, we're seeing improvements on this in terms of the last year.
Yeah.
So, we kind of hit rock bottom over the last couple of years, and then now we're on the way up. So hopefully this is a trend that is changing for the better.
Yeah. 그래요. 30년 전인 1995년에 비해서 지금 이제 상당히 많이 줄었다라는 것은 헤드라인에서 살펴봤던 내용이고 물론 중간중간 살짝 오르락 내리락은 있었어요. But still, the overall trend is way lower than it was before.
Much lower, yeah. So in terms of 1996, it was 430,000 marriages that we saw, and we had a record low of 192,000 in 2022. So I mean, in terms of the time period there, it was actually less than half.
Let's look at tying the knot, because we're talking about people who tied the knot in 95 and now. Of course, this data is based on 2024 data, but that's the latest one we have. So we can say it's happening now.
Yes.
What is tying the knot?
Yeah, so tying the knot is just another way of saying got married. Yeah.
결혼한다라는 뜻이군요. 그러면은 여기서 tying the knot 대신에 the number of couples getting married 해도 돼요?
Yep, absolutely.
똑같군요.
Yeah.
Get married, tie the knot.
Yeah. Another word that we would say is getting hitched. That it's a little bit more casual. I think, I mean, tying the knot's casual too, but I would say, oh, we got hitched. You know, that's kind of like a very casual way of saying it to like friends.
How do you spell hitched?
Hitched would be Hitched.
그렇죠. 결혼하다를 뜻하는 get hitched, get married, tie the knot, walk down the aisle.
Oh,
이것도
yeah.
있죠?
Yeah, that's right.
물론 walking down the aisle. 둘 다 하긴 하는군요.
Yeah.
근데 이제 신부를 많이 연상하긴 하는데 둘 다 walk down the aisle 하죠. 그래서
Yeah,
결혼한다는 뜻으로. 비행기에서도 복도 좌석을 선호하시나요? 창가 좌석을 선호하시나요? 할 때 would you like a window seat, 창가 자리, or an aisle seat, 복도 자리 이렇게 물어보는데 그 복도, aisle, A-I-S-L-E 스펠링이 좀 특이해요.
Doesn't spell like it sounds.
I know. 자, 그게 이제 복도라는 뜻도 있지만 결혼할 때는 그 가운데 걸어가는 그 길입니다. 이게 우리말로는 좀 잘못 번역이 돼가지고 버진 로드라고 할 때가 있는데 그거는 이제 아마 일본에서 온 표현인 것 같아요. 그런 표현 영어로는 안 쓰죠.
Virgin Road?
Yeah.
Oh no, I've never heard that
그러니까
before.
영어 표현 아닌 걸로 제가 알고 있습니다. 그래서 영어 단어들이지만
Yeah.
영어 표현은 아니에요. 이건 참고하시면 될 것 같아요. 자, 그다음에 plummet.
Plummet is to suddenly go down very quickly or straight down, literally. There's a word called a plum. And when you think the word plum, you think of the fruit, right? Like a chadu, I guess. But what a plum or a plumb line means that something is straight down vertically, exactly 90 degrees. And there's a way of measuring it. Like back in the old days, they had like a string and you would have like a weight at the bottom of the string to make the line exactly 90 degrees vertical. And that was called a plumb line.
약간 구추 같은 느낌이네요. 뭔가 이렇게 끈에 무거운 걸 달아가지고 한 추의 역할을 한 것을 plum이라고 불렀나 봐요.
Yeah.
저도 이건 몰랐는데 plummet라는 표현을 들으면은 이제 뚝 떨어졌다. 그래서 급락 이런 느낌이죠.
Yeah, and you would use that plumb line often in like carpentry when you're making buildings and things like that. So some people like nowadays they have like a tennis ball that they put at the end of a rope or a string, and then when you park your car, when the ball hits your windshield, you know, okay, this is as far as I want to go in my garage, so that you don't hit the end of your garage.
All right. Well, plummet is spelled P-L-U-M-M-E-T. M 두 개 들어갑니다. P-L-U-M-M-E-T, plummet, to drop drastically. 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. The number of couples tying the knot in Korea has almost halved over the past 30 years, and births have plummeted to just 1/3 of 1995 figures, according to Statistics Korea. Let's move on to the second headline.
Nearly 60% of families with children under 18 were dual-income households in 2024, up from 47% recorded in 2015, according to a report by the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family.
여성가족부 보고서에 따르면 지난해 기준 18세 미만 자녀가 있는 국내 맞벌이 가구 비율이 60%에 달해 2015년에 47%보다 크게 증가한 것으로 집계됐습니다. Let's talk about demographics again, but in a slightly different way. If you think back to maybe 30 years ago, 50 years ago, the traditional household would have the mother stay at home and just the father go to work. That is no longer the case, not only because of the role of the genders changing, but because financially you can't just live off of one person earning money.
Yeah, and I think this is something that America went through maybe earlier,
Yeah.
and you're seeing this more and more in Korea, where you do have both the parents working. And what's interesting that I found is among households with children aged 6 or younger, the proportion of dual income families rose even more dramatically, climbing 15 points all the way up to 53.2%.
네. 그러니까 지금 얼만큼 그 비율이 늘었느냐 이걸 좀 보게 되면은 18세 미만 자녀가 있는 맞벌이 부부들 같은 경우에는요. 10년 전에 비해서 11%포인트 는 58%, 거의 60%에 달하는데 6세 미만 더 어린 자녀가 있는 맞벌이 부부의 비율은요. 2015년에 비해서 현재 이제 53%인데 예전엔 38%였으니까 15%포인트 늘었습니다. So the increased amount or the percentage is bigger for families with younger children, although the overall percentage is more for parents with children under 18. And this is understandable.
Yeah, part of that could also just be because if your children are younger, then you might be younger as well and still be in an office setting where you're employed and perhaps had an easier time of getting time off of work. I think for the newer generation, companies are a little more sensitive to that than they were in the past, I would think.
Yeah. I mean, we have all these figures here, but just in layman's terms, basically, more families with young children are deciding that both parents have to work.
Yes.
And that's why now we have more and more of these parental leave policies at companies. Otherwise, how is this society going to work?
Yeah. And benefits for, childcare if you have two parents that are working.
Exactly. All right, so let's look at the term children under 18.
Children under 18 is kind of a long way of saying, kids under the age of 18. Sometimes what we use actually is we'll use the word children of minority age.
Okay.
So we have two different things. We'll say minority and majority. So majority being that you're an adult. So you're aged 18 or over. Or kids that are under 18, we'll actually call them minors.
Yes.
Right. Or age of minority.
I was thinking of the word minor, looking at this. In Korean, we say 미성년자.
Oh, that's right.
And in English, it's just one word, M-I-N-O-R. 이게 미성년자인데요. Minor. So if you're under 18, you are a minor.
Yeah. And we don't really say it as much, but we would say you're a major. It does work.
I've never had that before.
Exactly. That's what I mean. That's what it's termed. Like, are you a major? And somebody might ask you in an official term. You say, yes, I am a major. But it's not used very often. And that's why you probably more often hear, are you the age of majority? And then, you'll probably hear that more often.
자, 그다음에 맞벌이 가구는 영어로 dual income household라고 표현을 했네요.
Yeah, dual income household, meaning that both the parents are working. And there is a terminology for this if you have no kids. I don't know if you've heard this before. We call it a DINK. It'd be D-I-N-K, which is dual income, no kids.
Or double income, no kids.
Or double income, so yeah.
맞아요. 딩크족 많이 들어보셨죠? Double income, no kids. 맞벌이 부부이면서 아이가 없는 상당히 오래된 표현이기는 한데 이렇게 사시는 분들도 계시겠지만 지금 보고 있는 거는 어린 자녀가 있는 그런 가구들 중에서 맞벌이 부부가 있는 집들이 대부분인 것 같습니다. 다 이제 50%는 넘었어요. 아이가 몇 살이든지 간에. 6살 기준으로 봐도 그렇고 18살을 기준으로 보면 더 그렇고 맞벌이, dual, D-U-A-L, 그 다음에 하이픈하고 소득이라는 뜻의 income, dual income household. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. Nearly 60% of families with children under 18 were dual income households in 2024, up from 47% recorded in 2015, according to a report by the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family.
Incheon International Airport has expanded its Smart Pass facial recognition system to all boarding gates, enabling travelers to pre-register their facial data and pass through security without a passport or boarding pass.
인천국제공항이 출국장에만 도입했던 스마트 패스 서비스를 이제부터 전체 탑승구까지 확대 적용해 운영합니다. 스마트 패스는 안면 정보를 사전에 등록하면 출국장이나 탑승구 등을 여권과 탑승권 없이 얼굴 인식만으로 통과할 수 있는 서비스입니다. So my first question to you is, have you registered your face for this smart recognition system?
I have not yet.
Okay, nor have I.
Okay, yeah. and that's the key, by the way,
Yeah.
is that this is something that you register for. It's not like you walk into the airport and all of a sudden the computers know who you are and all of that. So there's an app that you can sign up for. I think it's the ICN Smart Pass mobile app. And there you get a photo capture of yourself and you register your passport validation. And so you're giving them permission. This is who I am and
Yep.
I want this service. And then, even after you've gotten that, it's not like you can just get on an airplane without a passport or boarding pass. It just allows you to get through the security area. So it's that first area that you go through to say, okay, I want to get on the plane. And that area you can get through without your boarding pass or passport if you have the facial recognition smart pass.
Yeah, the lines can get quite long in that
Yes.
security area.
Yeah, so it would be more efficient in that way. If everyone's gotten this done, then you should be able to just breeze right through.
It's like the high pass system at the toll gates.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I love those, by the way.
Too, yeah. So in the past, and still now, some cars, you have to stop,
Yeah.
take out the money and pay. But now if you have a high pass system in your car, you just drive through and it's automatic.
Yeah, and nowadays you can go just fast through because before you had to slow down to 30 kilometers per hour, but there's some gates on the major highways that you can still go like 80 or 100 whatever the speed limit is and
Yeah.
just zoom right through.
Exactly. 자, facial recognition이 안면 인식이고요. 이것을 가능하게 하는 것은 가능하게 한다는 게 여기서는 이제 여행객들로 하여금 빨리 통과하는 게 가능하게 한다라고 했는데 자, enable이란 동사 보겠습니다.
Yeah, for if you are enabled to do something, then you are now able. So enabled or enabling, it means that you are able now. You have the power, you can do something.
able 자체가 뭐뭐가 가능하다라는 뜻이잖아요. 그런데 이 n을 붙이면은 그러한 행동을 한다는 뜻이 있어서 enable, E-N-A-B-L-E, 가능하게 하다. 자, 쓰는 방법은 enable someone to do something. So enable travelers to register their data. Enable listeners to study English or enable your children to have snacks. 이런 식으로 쓰면 되겠네요.
Yeah, so it's just something that now you can do this. Before you couldn't do it, but now you can do it.
가능하게 한다. What about passing through?
If you're passing through, then you're going through something, and we're talking about like a pass. Sometimes you have to have a pass
Yeah.
to get into something. So I have a pass, so now I'm able to go through.
그래요. 이 pass through라는 것은 무언가를 통과하다, 지나가다라는 뜻이 있고요. 출입증 자체도 또 pass라고 불러요. 그래서 그 얘기를 지금 방금 하신 거죠? You have a pass
Yeah.
to get to our studio.
Yes.
이런 식으로요. 자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Incheon International Airport has expanded its Smart Pass facial recognition system to all boarding gates, enabling travelers to pre-register their facial data and pass through security without a passport or boarding pass. 지금 보니까 pass라는 단어가 굉장히 여러 번 나오네요. 왜냐하면 이제 passport, boarding pass, pass through 다 약간 다른 의미의 pass인데 네. 자, 지나가겠습니다.
The Valentina Glacier in Italy's Lombardy region, where some of the 2026 Winter Olympics will be held, has melted so extensively that geologists can no longer measure it using traditional methods and must now rely on drone imagery and remote sensing.
2026년 동계올림픽 개최 지역에 속하는 이탈리아 롬바르디아 지역의 벤티나 빙하가 너무 많이 녹아 지질학자들도 기존의 방법으로는 더 이상 측정이 불가하며 이제부터는 드론 영상과 원격 감지 기술을 써야 하는 것으로 알려졌습니다. I just realized as you were reading it there that I didn't give you the cue to start reading headline number 4. Sorry, this is headline number 4. So tell us what's happening.
Yeah, so this glacier has lost 1.7 kilometers in length. So often glaciers actually move. People didn't realize this because you just see the ice is still
Yeah.
there, but it's actually moving physically. And often what that does is it leaves a lot of rocks or things in its path. And right now, it's kind of dangerous for people to go up there because of the loose rocks and gravel and stuff that's been left behind the wake of this moving glacier. So that's why it's sort of unsafe to go and measure it like they would want to. And now they have to use these drones. They're relying on drones to be able to see just how much ice or water that they've lost in the glacier.
Yeah, I guess this is due to climate change.
Yes, clearly.
기후변화로 인해서 이 빙하가 너무 많이 녹아내린 상황이네요. So the experts, they can no longer go up the mountain to measure it the traditional way. So if you can no longer do something, what does that mean?
It means that you can't do it anymore. So you were able to do it before, but you can no longer do it now.
When I was younger, I was, believe it or not, a good sprinter. But I can no longer do that. I can no longer run fast. 그래서 이제 더 이상 뭐뭐 할 수 없다라고 할 때 I can no longer do something 이렇게 얘기를 하면 되겠죠.
I'm sure you could. You just
Not as
choose,
fast as I-
choose not to.
Because I think my best record was 16 seconds for 100 meters.
Wow.
Which is pretty fast for a girl.
Yeah.
But now, I've never run fast recently, but I would imagine it would take me, I don't know, 20 seconds or 30 seconds. I don't know. I just don't have the strength anymore. But anyway, I can do other things that I couldn't do when I was younger. So I guess that balances it out. 자, can no longer do something. I can't do something이랑 비슷하지만 예전엔 할 수 있었는데 지금은 더 이상 못한다는 뜻이겠죠. What about relying on something?
If you rely on something, then you need something. You need to have this work for you, or something has to come through in order for you to succeed.
Yeah, exactly. Relying on 누구누구, 무엇, 의존한다는 뜻이 있어요. 그만큼 뭐 신뢰한다는 뜻이 될 수도 있고 사람일 경우에. So every Thursday, I rely on you to give us the examples for the expressions and to tell us what certain things mean and also give us a better understanding of how expressions are used in daily conversation. 저 이렇게 선생님한테 많이 믿고 의존하고 합니다. 목요일마다. 근데 여기서는 사람은 아니죠. Rely on drone imagery. 그래서 이제는 사람이 직접 올라가서 전통 방식으로 이런 빙하를 측정하기는 어려워져서 드론을 쓴다는 거예요.
So because the drone can fly up
Yeah.
there and it doesn't need the safety, so it can do something without you.
Absolutely. 자, 다시 읽어보겠습니다. The Ventina Glacier in Italy's Lombardy region, where some of the 2026 Winter Olympics will be held, has melted so extensively that geologists can no longer measure it using traditional methods and must now rely on drone imagery and remote sensing. Let's move on to the final headline.
Botswana's economic landscape is undergoing a seismic shift as lab-grown diamonds increasingly capture market share from natural diamonds, threatening the foundation of what was once Africa's most celebrated economic success story.
보츠와나의 경제 환경이 급격히 흔들리고 있는 것으로 전해졌습니다. 이는 실험실에서 인공적으로 만드는 일명 lab-grown 다이아몬드가 천연 다이아몬드 대비 시장 점유율을 갈수록 늘려가면서 다이아몬드 매장량이 풍부해 한때 아프리카에서 가장 유명한 경제 성공 사례로 꼽혔던 보츠와나의 토대를 위협한 데 따른 것입니다. So people are preferring, I guess, lab-grown diamonds to the natural diamonds these days, or at least that's what the market stats show.
Well, I don't know if it's preferable. I would say they can produce them much more quickly.
Okay.
So, yeah, because typically with diamonds, you have to mine them. They have to be there deep under the ground. And creating those have, been hundreds, if not thousands of years of the Earth's pressure putting
Right.
it together. But now they can do it in a lab, with mechanical pressure. And they say that these lab-grown diamonds in Botswana are chemically, physically, and optically identical to their natural counterparts. So basically, you can't tell them apart.
Okay, so it's about production, as you said. You can definitely make more lab-grown diamonds than find
Yeah.
natural ones.
I mean, you're literally creating it. It's almost like farming them. Whereas before they had to be there, you had to find it and then actually physically mine it out. So it's a lot more difficult process, perhaps, or perhaps more expensive, definitely more dangerous in terms of using people to mine it. But now to create these in the lab the way they're doing, it's a lot easier. And I've read about this stuff more recently that it's becoming a thing. Because diamonds are so expensive.
Yeah.
And if you can just create it, then, it's certainly very profitable.
I would imagine the lab-grown diamonds are still expensive, but maybe not as expensive, right?
Absolutely.
Well, it was the 1960s when Botswana, it really benefited from its, vast I guess, source of diamonds,
yeah.
and its discovery of diamonds. And since then, it went from being a very poor country to now being a lot better off. But as you said, now in 2025, things are looking a little rocky for Botswana. Let's have a look at the expression to capture market share.
So to capture means to catch something, right? And when it comes to market share, you hear this a lot in business terms, maybe in the stock market, and you're talking about what percentage or how much of a market that you possess or that you have. So maybe, certain companies in a certain sector, they have a large influence. Everyone buys this product or this brand, so they have a large market share.
마켓 쉐어가 시장 점유율이고 캡처는 확보하다. 그래서 시장 점유율을 크게 확보하고 있는 lab-grown diamond 이런 뜻이 되겠고 그러면은 이제 this is threatening the foundation of what was once Africa's most celebrated success story.
And when we're talking about once, then this is something that was before, right? Before they had a large market share or they had success, they had this in the past. It was once like this. And now we don't know or what's up in the future we're uncertain of as well. And, you often hear a lot of fairy tale stories that start with, well, once upon a time, like sometime, a long time ago, we don't know when, but, once, sometime before this happened.
once라는 게 사실 워낙에 많은 의미를 담고 있는 단어라서 한 번 했다가 될 수도 있고 옛날 옛적에 할 때도 once upon a time에 붙어 있는 단어이기도 하고요. 여기서는 이제 한때예요, 한때. What was once. 한때는 이랬다라는 뜻이겠죠. Sometimes we hear stories about celebrities who were once big and famous and respected, and then maybe a scandal breaks them, and so they are not that famous or respected anymore. 자, what was once 한때는 뭐뭐였던. 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Botswana's economic landscape is undergoing a seismic shift as lab-grown diamonds increasingly capture market share from natural diamonds, threatening the foundation of what was once Africa's most celebrated economic success story. Well, that's it for the headlines with Jason Lee.